Coming into Washington, D.C. through Amtrak, you first make a stop in Alexandria, Virginia. The Crescent comes in across the Potomac River as it heads into Union Station in Washington, D.C. The river is 405 miles long and borders Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. It is nicknamed the Nation's River. Passengers on Amtrak trains traveling into Washington, D.C. can see many of the city's familiar sights, such as the Washington Monument. The Crescent ends its journey in Washington, D.C. at Union Station. The train station opened in 1907 and is visited by 32 million people each year. Amtrak, MARC, and the Virginia Railway Express and the D.C. Metro all serve Union Station. It is one of Washington's best known and busiest places. There are upper and lower levels of the track area in Union Station. The upper level is used by MARC and the Amtrak Acela Express, and also a few Amtrak regional trains. Southbound services use the lower level. VRE trains and northbound Amtrak trains use it frequently. Also, the DC Metro Rail Red Line station is located here, and is the busiest in the entire metro system. Located outside is the Columbus Fountain, honoring Christopher Columbus. The statue was created in 1912 by Laredo Tye. Union Station was designed by Daniel Burnham with the assistance of Pierce Anderson. Using various architectural styles, Burnham used elements from the Ark of Constantine in the main facade and exterior. He also used the vaulted spaces of the Baths of Diocletian in the interior to create a facade that measures 600 feet long and 96 feet above the floor. Burnham also included stone inscriptions and allegorical sculptures using expensive materials such as marble, gold leaf, and white granite. The DC Union Station is almost like a huge mall as well as a train station. It has many restaurants, a large food court, several newsstands, various fashion stores, and numerous specialty shops. Nearby Union Station is the Hotel George, a luxury hotel built in 1929. However, it has an ultra-modern design that makes staying there a pleasure for any traveler.
The National Gallery of Art is one of many art galleries in Washington, but this is the big one.
Touring Washington, D.C. on Tourmobile, you will see all the historic sites that make the city such a joy to visit, such as the Washington Monument. The Jefferson Memorial is another one of Washington's historic sites. The tidal basin with the Jefferson Memorial and the Washington Monument situated nearby. There is also the John Erickson Monument. He designed the USS Monitor, a Civil War era armored ship. The Lincoln Memorial is also nearby. You can also see the Korean War memorial statues from your tour bus. The Lock Keeper's House is one of the oldest buildings in Washington, D.C. It was built in 1835. The keeper raised 13 children here. No visit to Washington, D.C. is complete unless you make a stop by the White House. When you get to see it, you can spend a few moments imagining all the history that has gone on behind its walls, both the good and the bad. The Memorial to Japanese American Patriotism in World War II commemorates Japanese American involvement in patriotism in World War II and those who were held in internment camps. The National Museum of the American Indian is dedicated to the preservation, study, and exhibition of life, languages, literature, history, and the arts of Native Americans. In the outdoor sculpture garden is Roxy Payne's Metal Tree. The Smithsonian Castle is the oldest building in a series of museums and was completed in 1855. The Supreme Court building was built in 1935 and it houses the judicial branch of the U.S. government. The U.S. Capitol building is where the U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate meet. History is being made every day in Washington, D.C. The history that is preserved tells present-day visitors the stories of the country's past. Dolly Madison's house is a historical landmark and where the former First Lady lived until her death in 1849. The house borders the historic 7-acre Lafayette Square Park, which has been used as a racetrack, zoo, graveyard, soldier encampment in the War of 1812, many political protests and celebrations. Jacqueline Kennedy helped to preserve the park during her husband's administration. The House of American naval icon Stephen Decatur is located at Lafayette Square Park. He died here in 1820 after a duel with rival officer Commodore James Barron. The Hay Adams Hotel has 143 rooms and was built in 1927. It is named after John Milton Hay and Henry Brooks Adams. Jackson Place also contains the homes of many other historical figures in American history. This includes the home of Henry Rathbone, who was in the booth with President Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater the night Lincoln was assassinated. There is no doubt that Lafayette Square is one of Washington, D.C.'s most historical and fascinating locations.
That is the presidential motorcade. This is one of those rare days where I know exactly what they're up to. That is the presidential motorcade.